Episode 668.
Oh, I see.
The berserker responded to Yi Shu's words, sounding as if he was lost in thought.
Then how did you figure out their encirclement formation?
It took me a long time of observation and analysis. I made my deductions based on the spacing between their units, their movement patterns, and the size of the map.
You can do something like that.
The berserker was stunned. Deception had vaguely heard Yi Shu say all this before, and at first he didn't really believe it either. But after trailing Lord Grimm around for a while, he realized the guy actually had a decent grasp of the opponent's setup. He might not know everything, but he's already gone further than deception ever could.
We really ought to learn from this.
The berserker then turned to the companions who had arrived with him. His assessment of the situation at Spring Intense side had been spot on. These 5 berserkers were none other than the members of Heavenly Swords. The berserker was Zan Lu Lan, the battle mage was Xiao Bei, the grappler was Ye Shi, the elementalist was Chen Fang Gehai, and the cleric was Chen Ye Ru Li. Ye Shu had tipped off Zan Lu Lan, telling them to come here and practice. Zan Lu Lan and his crew were all aiming for the pro scene now, so leveling was obviously no longer necessary. Equipment issues would require a different approach entirely. Yi Shu hadn't asked about that. He figured Zan Lu Lan's crew couldn't be so confident as to think the gear they were wearing in Heavenly Domain would cut it in the pro scene. As for their plans, Zan Lu Lan didn't say, and Ye Shu didn't ask. But no matter what, there's no end to improving individual skill and team coordination. Especially after crossing blades with Ye Shu, then Huang Shaotian and Wang Jieshi, Zhan Lulan and his crew had completely abandoned their earlier overambitious notions. They had grounded themselves. Their first-year goal in the pro scene was now simply to hold the line. Guard means don't end up in the bottom 2 and get eliminated. A new team dropping out in their first year? That's hardly anything new. When Zan Lulan and his team thought back on it, they couldn't help but feel a chill. If they hadn't run into Ye Shu, with their earlier mindset of thinking they could contend for the championship, they'd probably have added another notch to that unremarkable record. For Zan Lulan and his crew, only one thought remained: improvement. They didn't come to the pro scene to sightsee. They weren't fans like Chen Guo, content with just having the experience. They were serious. They wanted to make a name for themselves in the pro scene. Knowing that Yi Shu was the legendary Yi Shu, Zhan Lulan and his team were naturally eager to learn whatever they could from him. So when this big scene unfolded today, Yi Shu immediately called a few of them over. While this kind of scene would never happen in a real pro match, it was still a great chance to hone the team's coordination. Opportunities like that day, with pro players to practice against, are rare and hard to come by. The moment they entered the formation, under Yi Shu's lead, they unleashed a storm of offense that left even themselves stunned, let alone Jin Shang and the others, who were already being cut down like corpses. Just cutting their way through this one charge, they had already learned a lot. Who doesn't know how to use AoE? But being able to execute an AoE build to this degree, that's not something you see on every street corner. This is professional level play. That single thought circled relentlessly through Zan Lulan's mind, and it made them realize if they wanted to survive in the pro scene, they had to possess that kind of combat power. But without Yi Shu there to orchestrate and command, they knew they couldn't reach that level on their own. They were already masters of their own classes, but when it came to coordinating between classes, combining skills, and executing combos, they simply couldn't compare to Yi Shu.
Record it all, every single match.
Zan Lulan said under his breath.
Of course, we've been recording the whole time.
The voice from across the sea replied.
We'll have to study it properly first, then practice it ourselves.
As they spoke, the 7-man squad ran into another Blue Creek Pavilion team. The moment this 10-man squad saw the 7 approaching, they scrambled to flee. This time it was for real, no baiting the enemy into a trap. Orders had come down from above. Any team under 30 members was to avoid conflict outright. The 3 guild leaders estimated the 7-man team's combat power at 30 men, and even that didn't feel safe or secure enough. By now, they were already rallying their forces, aiming to form a full party and fight a hard battle with 100 men. Without realizing it, the three of them had forgotten they were the ones hunting. They had come to see this as an evenly matched fight to the death. They were organizing their forces to counterattack. Since they'd spotted each other from a good distance, the 10-man squad turned and fled without a second thought, leaving the 7-man group with no way to stop them.
Pursue?
Zhan Lulan asked.
Move out.
The 7 gave chase in the direction the 10 had turned.
Watch my movement rhythm.
The people around him began to pay attention to Lord Grimm's movements. This 10-man squad wanted nothing more than to put as much distance between themselves and their pursuers as possible, holding nothing back. Watching the 7 get rapidly left behind, his heart eased a little. Yet before long, those 7 had reappeared behind them, trailing at a steady distance. The 10-man team tried to push harder, but found their stamina couldn't keep up. Without stamina, they couldn't sprint, and their speed dropped a whole tier. From that point on, the 7-man squad just kept getting closer and closer.
Help!
They were still several body lengths away, but the 10 of them had already lost their nerve, screaming for help and flooding the guild channel with their coordinates.
Hold the line.
The guild could only say that much. Getting there would take time after all.
Closer, closer, even closer.
The squad of 10 fell into chaos, on the verge of tears. The threat was right before their eyes, yet they were utterly helpless. Waiting to die was more terrifying than death itself.
No, the reinforcements won't make it in time.
The squad leader of 10 scanned the area in every direction. Aside from the 7-man squad drawing closer, there wasn't a single soul in sight.
What do we do?
Some of the team members were already sobbing.
Logging off.
The captain said decisively. The team members were taken aback.
Otherwise, they'd have died for nothing. Mengzi's squad wasn't weak, and they got wiped out in under a minute.
Then get offline now. We're about to enter their range.
One of the team shouted, and then 10 white flags unfurled. Behind the 6 or 7-man team, these 10 players made a stylish logout.
No way?
The 7-man team was stunned, Yi Shu included. None of them had expected to actually force the opponent offline.
East.
This time, Yi Shu didn't hesitate. He gave a new order on the spot, and the team abandoned their circling tactic, heading straight east.
Why?
Whenever the chance arose, Zhan Lulan would ask a question, learning the art of command from theory.
They've probably got a read on our combat strength by now. They'll be massing their forces. If we keep chasing this way, we're bound to run into a large group. Time to pull back and avoid them.
Yi Shu explained as the 7-man team veered east. At that same moment, the 3 major guilds lost all trace of them. Their forces were gathering, which naturally meant the area they controlled had shrunk. If that squad had died in battle, their souls could have served as fixed surveillance points, but they all logged off decisively. From that moment on, no one but the 7 of them knew where they had gone. So, after a while, the 3 guilds happily united their forces, shared intel, and finally realized they had no idea where Lord Grimm was. No idea. And Lord Grimm's team? Same, no clue.